Welcome to today's explainer for May 30th, 2026. Today, we're doing something a bit different. We are connecting the dots between three massive, seemingly separate forces that are literally colliding to reshape our world right this very second. We've got high-stakes Middle East diplomacy, roaring tech-driven financial markets, and a deeply concerning systemic crisis playing out at the United Nations. Let's make sense of all this noise.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the razor's edge of the US-Iran ceasefire. Second, we'll see how AI is fueling historic market records. And finally, we'll cover the funding crisis that's currently paralyzing the UN.
Starting with part one, the US-Iran ceasefire edge.
We are jumping right into a geopolitical powder keg. Over the last few days, negotiators have been inching toward a major diplomatic breakthrough regarding the Strait of Hormuz. Now, draft understandings reveal this isn't just some quick pause in the fighting. It's actually a strict 60-day roadmap. It kicks off with a ceasefire extension, moves on to easing sanctions and unfreezing Iranian assets by day 30, and then hits an absolutely crucial day 60 deadline. That's when they aim to officially reopen the Strait of Hormuz and launch direct nuclear negotiations. Honestly, the mood right now is cautiously optimistic. The deal isn't finalized, but Vice President J.D. Vance publicly confirmed that the U.S. and Iran are very close. He even noted the belief that negotiators are acting in good faith. Both sides desperately want that strait open. But, highly enriched uranium remains the massive elephant in the room here. But wait, here is the ultimate hurdle. This deal still awaits final approval from President Donald Trump following hours of intense meetings in the Situation Room. Administration officials have been crystal clear about this. He is only going to approve a deal that satisfies one non-negotiable red line, and that is that Iran can never possess a nuclear weapon. And that brings us right to the core friction and the deep mistrust between the two sides. On one hand, U.S. negotiators are demanding strict nuclear oversight and de-escalation. But in stark contrast, Iran's newly established Persian Gulf Strait Authority is pushing back hard against recent U.S. Treasury sanctions. They basically view these sanctions as an American attempt to control the shipping route, and they're vowing to manage Hormuz traffic without interruption. Now, despite all that posturing, we are actually seeing some really tangible, positive signs. For instance, Kazakhstan has stepped up and offered to securely store Iran's near-weapons-grade uranium. Plus, maritime data shows foreign vessels are already resuming transit through the strait. And importantly, productive military back channels are running right alongside the political track. It is an incredibly delicate dance of hard power and diplomacy, all aimed at keeping global energy prices from completely spiraling. So, with negotiators literally sweating over red lines in the Situation Room and ships cautiously navigating one of the most vital energy choke points on Earth, how are global markets reacting to this geopolitical tightrope?
Let's pivot to part two, AI fuels market records.
Welcome to a tale of two completely different worlds. Wall Street seems to be entirely ignoring the geopolitical noise in the Middle East and is just seeing absolutely nothing but green. 33%. Guys, if you blinked, you might have literally missed Dell Technologies shares violently surging 33% in a single day. Why? Because they completely shattered earnings expectations. They are feeding an insatiable, bottomless market demand for AI computing infrastructure. AI is definitely no longer a buzzword. It is cold, hard capital. It's honestly a staggering split-screen reality. On one side, you have the geopolitical reality, real fears of inflation and military conflict in the Middle East. On the other side, sheer market euphoria. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq are extending these massive record-setting rallies, with the S&P marking its longest winning streak since 2023. Right now, investors are betting big time that the AI tech boom is just way stronger than the threat of any Middle East supply shock. And the institutional data completely backs up this rally. Look at these projections from Generali Asset Management. They show the S&P 500 sitting pretty at 7504, with short and medium-term forecasts trending strictly upwards towards 7650. Even with inflation pressures bubbling up from energy disruptions, robust corporate earnings are acting like an iron shield right now. To put that into perspective, the engine behind this is an absolutely incredible 18.5% expected earnings per share growth in the U.S. for 2026, entirely driven by the AI boom. I mean, this vastly outpaces European markets, which are projecting around 11%. This exceptional U.S. growth is keeping corporate margins at cyclical highs, effectively buffering the whole economy against those geopolitical shocks we talked about earlier. But, while the US tech sector and global markets are generating all this historic wealth and superpowers are consolidating their economic might, let's actually pull the camera back for a second. With superpowers enriching themselves, what exactly happens to the structural framework of our international institutions?
Which brings us to part 3, UN funding crisis. This is a massive systemic crisis occurring quietly in the background right now. The United Nations is effectively going broke. It's a massive paradox, really. The two largest economies on Earth, the very same nations driving this global wealth boom, are simultaneously choking the UN's finances. The Trump administration is withholding billions in international funding, while Beijing is facing accusations of actively gaming the budget for strategic leverage. The end result? Severe operational paralysis. And this defunding isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It has immediate real-world consequences. It's crippling critical peacekeeping and humanitarian missions worldwide. Now, imagine interviewing for the top job in global diplomacy in the middle of all this. The UN is actively searching for its 10th Secretary General right now, but whoever gets the job will inherit a financially crippled institution, a profound loss of multilateral trust, and escalating global wars from day one.
Good luck, right? Experts are actually calling this multilateral paralysis. It's basically a condition where international organizations simply cannot function or intervene in global crises because member states are actively stonewalling and withholding funds. Think about it. When the global safety net is defunded, responding to events like the Iran conflict we opened with becomes that much more dangerous.
So it leaves us with this truly chilling paradox. We have markets reaching the stratosphere, completely fueled by AI. We have delicate ceasefires out there hanging by a thread, and yet, the very institutions designed to keep global peace are essentially bankrupt. As technology consolidates wealth and superpowers pull back their funding, who will be left to police the crises of tomorrow? It's a lot to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on today's Explainer, and as always, keep questioning.